What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Yanks of the Cop. We're here for the instant post-match reactions to the shocking display of football that we saw from Liverpool today. We lose to Everton for the first time in a very long time, 2-0 at home. As always, we're your host, Steve Scans, as well as my homie. Fellas, we talked all day yesterday about how this was potentially a game to start building momentum in the second half, and another complete letdown.
Yeah, I thought it was brutal. It was, it's the first time that Everton have won at Anfield this century. I think I heard, so that's great. But hey, I got to give them credit. It's they actually play with some passion. They wanted to win this game. They had no fear coming into this game. They had much more aggression coming into this game or throughout the game. So they deserve to win. We showed no passion. We showed no aggression. We showed, no will to win. It's just it's sad to see from a team that was at such heights the past 3 to 4 seasons, and now it's going to be a proper top 4 battle. I don't think it's over yet, but Everton are equal with us in points. They have a game in hand. Aston Villa have 2 games in hand. Chelsea, I think, is 3 up on us. I think they'll drop points, but it's not what you want to see. Not what you're going to see at all.
Well, I think certain players turned up to this game in the first half. You could see them in the lineup, and they just looked afraid. They looked like they had bottled it before they even came out. And I thought like Kabak, I thought he was awful the whole game. He got done amount of times just from a long ball downfield, done loads of times. Ricardo had him on toast the whole game, and every time they just did a long ball, similar punt downfield, he's all over the place. I think he looked scared from the start. I think the whole defense didn't look it from the start. To be honest, they didn't look up for this game from the start. And I think the midfield was shocking again. To be honest, offered absolutely nothing in terms of controlling that game, dictating the tempo. Didn't offer anything defensively in terms of protecting the defense. It was shocking for the defense. And then let's set out the front three, because he were just abysmal. Offered absolutely nothing going forward. And I said it in the first 20 minutes that Mane was shocking. Like, I don't understand. Like, people go on about Mane because he tracks back, but he's been awful all season. Realistically, he dribbles, holds onto the ball, dribbles past, trying to take plays on, loses possession of the ball, doesn't go nowhere. Which is time that he keeps doing the exact same thing every time, and then he gets frustrated and he just starts doing stupid things. So he was awful today, and I think the only time we actually played well was probably like for 5 minutes, maybe 5-6 minutes. The second half we showed some kind of intensity, and then that faded by the 60th minute, and then we just went back to the normal garbage. And I think for most of that first half, we were just doing cross and hope. Our only chances came from set pieces, like that corner. I just think it was overall like no one came to this game in terms of players looking like they thought they believed they could win, or we were going to win. I think that was the alarming thing for me. And it's just frustrating. And again, it's just another diabolical home performance. That's 4 home defeats in a row now. That's shocking. I don't think they said Everton. The last team that had lost the last 4 after winning the league at home was Everton in like 1963 or something.
That's the first time that we've lost 4 straight home games since 1923.
Oh, gosh.
1923. That's almost 100 years. It's almost a century.
Yeah, but it was really really frustrating game. I mean, the thing that just aggravated me the most was just how many times, like how we just continued to be fine with just Trent Alexander-Arnold whipping balls in from not a great area in the pitch. Like he wasn't even always on the end line either. It was always like, he's a third of the way, down the field, and he's whipping these crosses into 1 or 2 people, while Everton has 4 or 5, sometimes 6 people in the box. And I also thought that, again, we started completely flat in the second half. I thought we were going to come out with a little bit more pep in our step, and we really only had 1 decent spell. And then after that, we didn't get a goal, and you could just see everyone's heads went down. I thought Klopp took way too long again to make a change in the second half and bring on Shaqiri. I don't hate the move bringing on Shaqiri, but I think, again, happened too late. And yeah, just frustrating.
Yeah, he's just I mean, Klopp just isn't taking enough risks for me. That's literally what it is. I mean, why are you taking Thiago out when you should have probably taken out Gini Wijnaldum? I mean, I thought Gini, it was a Gini game. It was just a typical Gini game where he just held the ball and sprayed it out wide. It didn't really do much. But why not take a risk and bring on Keita? Why not take a risk and bring on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain? Just someone like that who can maybe influx a little pace into the midfield. He just throughout this match, throughout the past 3 months, the midfield just doesn't take any risk at all. The last play of the game, Gini Wijnaldum beat 2 guys and put a shot in on Pickford and made the goalie think from outside the box. Where is that throughout the game? It's an unpredictability like that moves around the defense. Predictability of whipping the ball in from from the corners every other play. It's too easy. It's so easy for the defense. They don't have to move. They're just waiting for the ball to come to them. They don't have to move. It's insanity. It's literally the definition of insanity.
And that's what frustrates me as well. The fact that I was saying in the first of us as well, I messaged you guys saying that why are we going back to this cross and hope rubbish over and over again? The first half always was full of trying to whip balls in the box. Hendo as well when he was getting forward trying to whip balls in the box. Robert on his side whip balls in the box.
Yeah,
it's like we're not playing with Andy Carroll up top. How many times do we have to say this? We haven't got Andy Carroll up top. He's going to capitalize on those balls. So I don't understand why we keep doing that. Why is it like? I think since the West Ham game, we've gone back to playing through the flanks and not going through the middle. I don't understand why we're so afraid now to play through the middle now.
To be fair, though, I thought Trent was fantastic today. I thought Trent was probably our best player, and that ball that he put in, I think it was the 60th minute, and it literally went maybe 3 feet or a yard away from, or a meter, I guess, in the UK, a meter away from the goal line.
Yeah,
and nobody got a touch on it. I mean, I think Bobby was the closest one, but he was 10 paces off.
Yeah, why was no one in there? That's what
why was nobody in there? Exactly.
Yeah, that's what that annoyed me about that is the fact that all of our attacking players never made a run in the box when we know we need a goal, and that just frustrated me.
Yeah, and also too, another thing that aggravated me too was just the ball movement in general. It was taking way too long. Going through the midfield takes way too long to move the ball. All of a sudden, it feels like. Not only do they hit 2 passes when it could have just been 1 pass in the first place, but they have to take a touch, they have to turn their entire body, and then they can hit the pass. And it's way too slow. It's way too slow, and it allows Everton to get right back into position defensively, and it's way too slow.
Yeah, I mean, part of the appeal of Klopp when he first came in our team was heavy metal football, and we haven't seen that in 3 seasons. I know that things have changed, but things have changed this year too with the amount of injuries that we've had. We can't keep going with the same lineup, the same type of formation, the same type of play. We need to switch things up. We need to keep teams on their toes. It's so frustrating to see the same thing over and over again and nothing changes. There's a reason why we're getting the same results in these underwhelming performances. It's because teams know how to defend us, and it's not hard for them. It's not hard at all.
Yeah, it's just passive. We always do this slow pace passing. It's possession based. It's so slow. It doesn't go anywhere. I think we said it quite a few times in a couple of pods now. We said that if you compare City move the ball so fast. It's one-touch football. It's quick passing, and that's why they tire out low blocks because they're always moving the ball. With us, Liverpool, it's slow passing. Then we pass it back to the keeper. Then it's pass, and we get it wide and put it across in the box. And it's so easy to defend against. I don't like Graham Souness, but I agree with him because he said that Liverpool lacked intensity again today. There's no intensity in our play, and there is no intensity. There's no urgency. There's no quick passing. There's none of that. And each time we do get forward as well with counter attack, we always do this thing now where we turn backwards and start passing backwards instead of trying to get the ball in the box. And I don't know why we're doing it, but then I think, like you're saying, Klopp is not willing to take risks. I felt that he should have taken Gini off for Keita, in the last 20 minutes. Why not just give Keita a 20-minute run out? Or what's the point of being on the bench?
Why is Keita on the bench if he's not going to play? If he's not going to play, don't put him on the bench.
Yeah, or even Ox, someone, just bring on someone else there. Because I didn't see why. And I didn't think Shaqiri was the right substitution. I thought that game needed someone who's going to run and dribble past players. I didn't think Shaqiri was the right substitution to bring on that time. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, this is a good point from Damien right here. Hendo and Fab not in the midfield to allow the fullbacks to really get forward. And yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And I also think that's also been limiting Thiago as well. And just some of the problems that we're seeing in the midfield and everything. But it's absolutely crazy now. Like, you can't, like J Doc said, you can't really predict this many injuries. I mean, our 3 senior center backs are injured, and now our 2 best midfielders who had to then really step in and play midfield center back are now also injured. Like, no one could have predicted us having our top 5 center backs injured. Like, it's shit luck, and it's fucking up the entire rest of the team.
Yeah, but we can't feel bad for ourselves. That's the thing. Like, I understand that point, and I completely agree with it. But at the same time, we're not scoring goals like we were. It's like, yeah, we're getting scored on, but that's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is that we're not getting goals ourselves, and our front 3 just looks so off the mark. Firmino looked so off the mark today. I never thought he was going to score today. He probably should have had 2. Didn't have 1. Did he even put one on target? Maybe 1. Sadio Mane was atrocious, like what Homie said. Salah didn't look like the informed goal scorer that he is. It's just, at some point, something has to change. I don't know what it is.
I mean, that's the thing that's aggravating me. I mean, and you kind of already mentioned it, is that, like, we keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting that we're going to see a different result. And I just don't – it's just driving me crazy how, like, every single match we can almost just predict how we're going to play. It's just going to be whipping balls in to, a striker who has no confidence with finishing the ball right now.
It is just tiresome, the fact that I understand. I think as well now it puts, like, the Leipzig game into perspective. Like, were we really good against Leipzig, or was it just errors that led to that we scored from? Because we struggled to create against Leipzig as well, and maybe we had 2 chances where we should have done better, but we struggled to create really overall. So I think the massive issue now, the defense is an issue, but it's a lack of creativity because we're not creating anything from clear open play. It's set pieces that we're creating now, open play or relying on an opposition mistake. We're not actually creating anything in terms of ourselves, and it is a worry. I think it comes a lot of what comes from the midfield as well. The midfield don't move the ball fast enough. It's too slow. It's too, like, keeping the ball for too long before you pass it on. Yeah, it might look good when you're playing, a big attacking team that's coming again and you want to keep retaining possession. But in this game, it doesn't work. This retaining possession is too long. You need to move the ball quicker, and it's just too slow. It makes it so easy for a back 4 to just, because realistically, if we look at the amount of chances we had, overall Everton were comfortable. Except for, the Trent Hendo ones, I think Pickford has that. Any keeper has that covered all day long. They weren't going to score from those long distance shots. Pickford has that covered. If we had scored from those, then we would all be saying Pickford's crap because those are comfortable saves. Then you look in the second half, Salah won. Pickford saw that when Salah's went with 1-on-1, he was out quick, so it was very hard for Salah to score from that. He was too wide, and it was no chance for Salah to even lift over him. So that was great keeping from him. Other than that, we didn't really create anything that, the Mane chances were headers that were too high that he was never really going to get much power on to score from. So overall, we didn't really create much. So Everton were actually comfortable most of the game. And I think that's the issue, is the fact that we could have played for another 2 hours and we were never going to look at scoring, even getting a draw. So I think a lot of people, for me, are hiding behind the penalty. Yeah, the penalty was never a penalty, which we'll probably get to that later. But we were never going to score in the last 10 minutes anyhow. We were never going to create anything. So Everton were going to go on to win that 1-0 because they were comfortable at that point.
I actually disagree with you on the Leipzig game because I agree with Damien here. He said Liverpool normally force errors with our press, and that's exactly what we did against Leipzig. And that just wasn't there at all today. I don't know where the press was. We were taking chances against Leipzig. We had no fear. We brought the game to them. It was just we played into Ancelotti's hands perfectly. We went down early, and when that happens, then we're not getting back into the game. And someone said it earlier. I think it was Charlie said Fulham might even be the favorites when we play at Anfield on March 7th. I don't know if they'll be the bookie favorites, but I might put a bet on Fulham just because, maybe I'll win some money at least. It's just.
With the first goal, I think when we look at it, Yeah, I think that first goal when they scored, Thiago's stupidity was poor. He was poor again today.
Can't do that. Like, he's trying to do like a soft header to Jones, and then it went to nobody.
But then I think the second game of play, there's the second period of play after that, where Kabak headers the ball, and then both Thiago and Ginny are caught ball watching. Because when James gets the ball, he's under no pressure whatsoever, and Thiago and Ginny are both in front of him, ball watching, do nothing. And then I think Kabak's position was all wrong. He had no awareness of where Carlson whatsoever, and it was poor for him. It was poor. He had no awareness of where Carlson was, and he should know, have an eye where's Carlson, because he's the major threat. So I think it was a whole calamity there in terms of the midfield and defense in terms of that goal. It was poor from Liverpool. It's shocking. It's basic stuff that shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't be conceding the first 3 minutes. It's basic stuff. It was schoolboy error stuff, and I think that just summed up Liverpool again. Is the fact that it's schoolboy errors in defending and midfield defending that are costing us week in, week out.
And one thing that kind of aggravated me too was, Nat Phillips was solid. I thought Nat Phillips did have a good game when he came on as a substitution, and it's just it leaves me scratching my head as to why he hasn't gotten more minutes either. Why? It goes back to Klopp taking a risk. Would love to see him just go Kabak and Phillips in the back and just run with it, and that way you can have Henderson and Fabinho back in the midfield. Like what's the harm now? You got to change something up, and maybe that will help things out and have additional cover there and have two really good defensive minded center mids, and then that will allow Thiago to play more freely going forwards. He's got to change something. Maybe that's it.
Can I counteract that and say that when you say Phillips was solid, when he came on, Everton played at least 2 long balls down the field that caused a whole defense panic, where even the penalty one, that was so easy for Everton getting behind us. So easy. It wasn't even like good play. It's so easy. They won the ball, and then they were straight in behind us. And Phillips and Kabak were nowhere. It was so easy. So I would say maybe 1-on-1, Phillips was solid. But in terms of them as a partnership, you saw major concerns there for me. The fact that it's just a simple ball downfield, and both of them are all over the place.
I think that also has to play with the lack of leadership on the field. Like there was no James Milner, there was no Jordan Henderson, and obviously without Virgil and those guys, there needs to be a vocal leader on the field. And I know Genie's like the 4th captain, but he hasn't come off as the guy that really seems to be very vocal out there. So I think that was the biggest thing, is that there was nobody to keep them organized. And I mean that is part of the partnership deal. But
remember Phillips and Kabak have never played together.
Exactly.
Kabak is a brand new team that likes to play a high line for some reason during this season, and he's playing with a 23-year-old center back who played in the 2nd division of Germany last year. So I mean, we can't expect like prime Van Dijk to be coming off the bench and playing for us. It's just not going to happen. For me, the bigger issue is the forward line in the midfield.
Not prime, but I think you expect better defending, like Sunday League defending. My Sunday League team defend better than that when it comes to long balls. Don't let the ball bounce and track your runners. So I'm not expecting prime. I'm just expecting basic Sunday League defending that you don't get caught out from. A simple goal kick downfield should not cause your whole defense to panic and be all over the place. Even when Henderson on the pitch, that was still a massive issue. A simple long pull down the ball. The amount of times Everton in the first half got behind us from just a simple long ball down the field, and Henderson and Kabak all over the place. That shouldn't be happening. We're not. This is you don't miss that championship. So I'm not expecting prime Van Dijk. I'm just expecting basic Sunday League defending from our team. And a top team should not be happening that. I think that's a major concern as well. Even with Henderson, we don't look strong defensively.
Well, I mean, Henderson's not a center back. That's the thing, though.
He's not. But then I think defensively we are in trouble now if Henderson's out for a while. Because depending on when Fabinho comes back, we are in trouble now, because that's his concern, massive concern.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go back to something you said. Go ahead, Stephen.
I just want to go back to this point here from Mr. RB. Like, it's clear now that we really do need another true number 2 option center back to come into the team, especially because Gomez's injury history. Kabak's still young and learning. I think that still has to be number 1, if not number 2 option that we have to do this summer. Is we need to go out and get a center back, and it's going to be tough to go get what we need if we don't make the Champions League. So We got to make top 4. But go ahead, Andrew.
Just going to this point from Julian, he said, "Wijnaldum captain for the next few months." F me, that's shocking to see. I mean, yeah, I mean he's the 4th in line for the captain's band. So I guess that's shocking to see. I mean, I do want to go back to a point that I think what Homie said earlier about the midfield. How it's so slow moving the ball in there, and at one point during the game, I saw Wijnaldum pass the ball to Phillips, who then passed the ball to Kabak, who passed it to Trent. It just went like one step at a time down the throughout the back 4. But I think one of the reasons why it's so slow moving in that midfield is because, and I'm a big Genie defender, but it's because that Genie lacks the ability to really spray the balls out wide. That's the one issue with him playing as the 6. He doesn't move the ball quickly because he can't move the ball quickly. He can't move chip a ball over the top and skip over a defender and pass the ball to Trent or Robertson or even, pass the ball over the top to Mane or to an on-running Salah. So I think that's one of the big issues. We've kept saying that we want to see Thiago play a little more forward, and I completely agree. But if he's in there as a 6, then you would get more of that, I would think. But then you don't get as much, ball retention or, winning the ball back in the 6th spot. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's painful, to be honest, and I think we need a change because we just need someone who's going to play the ball fast in midfield. That's it. Someone that's going to play the ball fast in midfield. That's going to take risks. There's no one who's taking risks in midfield. I think, like, going to play the ball fast. I think that's a concern for me is the fact that we don't have that. I mean, the only person that maybe you could think, but then he can only last 30 minutes. He can only last 30 minutes per game is Keita, but he's probably the only person that would play the ball faster. And I wouldn't want to play Thiago as the 6 DM role because I don't think that suits him. So we are a bit in trouble now because I don't know when Fabinho's back, we are in a bit of a conundrum.
Well, the good news is that we have. What is it? 8 days until our next game against Sheffield. That's the good news. So hopefully Jota comes back. Hopefully Keita is fully fit. Hopefully Fabinho's fit. Hopefully Henderson is fit. Hopefully Milner's fit. All these guys are coming back. That's a lot of hopefuls, but it could be the difference maker in this season if someone like Jota and Keita are fully fit.
I don't know. I mean, the only thing I'm worried about with Henderson is that it was a non-contact thing, and obviously it was nice to see him be able to, toughen it out for an extra 60 seconds, so so Nat Phillips could get warm and he could walk off. But I don't think there's any guarantee that he's going to be back in a week. I mean, who knows? I'm sure we'll find out shortly here.
But wasn't it?
What's that?
It was a groin. It looked like to me more rather than a hamstring because he was holding his scrotum when he was still on the touchline talking to Klopp. Yeah. So if it's a groin strain,
I saw him stretch his quad. So I don't know. Is it like the what is it? The abductor? Maybe that's what it was.
I'm not a doctor, but either way, like it just seems like it could be a little nagging injury there, potentially for the rest of the season too. So,
yeah.
Brian had a good point here. He said, "Why not give Davies a chance? Why else did we buy him?" I mean, yeah, why not give him a shot, especially with Henderson out? I mean, let him earn his spot if he's better than Phillips in training, better than Kabak in training. I completely agree. And at this point, we need that competition back there, especially with Kabak. He doesn't seem as sure of himself as we would have hoped.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against it, but I don't think Klopp will give him a chance, will he? He's not going to do that. I think we both know probably the next game, Sheffield United, if it'll probably be Kabak and Phillips again. I don't think he'll put Davies in. If Henderson's not fit, if Fabinho's not fit, with them two.
And if you're worried about how our two center backs did with the long ball, you're probably going to be worried against Sheffield. That's all. That's all.
I am. I'm worried about that because I think it's just scary how alarmingly easy all it is for a simple route one ball down the field and we're all over the place. And the amount of times Everton did it, that was most of their game the whole time, was to put long ball down the field, and that's it. And it would cause panic between our centre backs. I think that is alarming how bad we were with that.
Oh yeah, I mean, Sheffield's going to play now. Either a 4-4-2, like a 5-3-2, something like that. They're just going to completely stack the box against us and just that's what they're going to do and just kick the ball down the field. So
they're playing 9-1.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, back to the front three, it was just completely shocking. Like, I would have loved to see like Mane and Salah switch sides or something. No, just try something different because props to Digne because he had Salah completely shut down all day today. He had absolutely nothing going at all. And we talked a little bit about that with with Gavin in the pre-show that was going to be a key matchup, and Salah got dominated. And it's I know he's scored a lot of goals this year, but it seems like in a lot of big games he's been getting shut down. Luke Shaw, for instance, he shut him down pretty well too.
Yeah, I think I didn't see that. Like Salah just couldn't get away from Digne the whole game. Like every time, even that time where I think it was a 1-on-1 where Salah looked as if he got through, and then I think he went a bit too ball.
Yeah, it was a bad touch out wide.
Yeah, and then he tried to cut in, and Digne just took a ball off him. He just couldn't get any joy out of him. Like got shut down, and I think, I found it obviously that Klopp in the second half he pushed Mane central, and we were just attacking down the right hand side, which is a bit unusual for us to have done that. The fact that all of our attacks were coming down the right hand side, and we were trying to neglect the left hand side. I did think Salah he struggled today, big time, and I don't know why sometimes in these big games he struggles a bit, especially at home. We seem to struggle a lot. He seems to struggle a lot at home.
Yeah.
So it's a concern because we've got a lot of big home games coming up in the league for the rest of the season, and maybe that's the thing that people know. Just stop Salah, double up on him at home, deny him space, and he's not going to do nothing at home.
Well, they played three in the back, right? They had Holgate, Keane, and Godfrey back there, right?
Yeah. And then they had Coleman and Digne. Yeah.
So I mean, pretty much the entire front three was double teamed the entire game. If you think about it.
Yeah. I think Keane was at stand today. He was really good.
But it was easy for him. I think he had to make like one last-ditch challenge off the pass from Robertson to Mane. That was a great challenge. But other than that, yeah, I thought he played a good game. But at the same time, we made it very easy for him. I mean, if I just sat at the penalty spot against Liverpool, I would probably get man of the match if I'm an opposing defender. It's not hard.
That's true. Like, can we talk Alisson? Like,
Damien said something here. He said Salah and Mane playing deep, not as high as normal, can't make attacking runs. And yeah, well, homie, that's been something you've been mentioning recently too. Salah and Mane are picking the ball up so deep in the opposition half. I mean, closer to our goal than to their goal.
I agree. I do. I think also that comes because we're not playing as high as we normally are because we don't have Van Dijk and Gomez centre back, so we can't play as high. Or so we are playing a bit more deeper in terms of how high our line is, and obviously because of that, we don't press as high as well because of the instability in defence. So the midfield aren't going to push up as high and push the strikers up as high because of the defence. So we are playing much more deeper to protect the defence, and obviously that means that Salah and Mane are having to pick the ball up more towards the halfway line rather than picking the ball up much more closer to the penalty box. So they do tire out doing that, and it is affecting us. But we have no choice really because we play high line and push them really high up, then our defence is going to get exposed, and that's the massive issue there. So I don't know what we can really do with that, So, but I just wanted to ask Alisson, like, do you feel before the penalty? Do you think he should have? Because he spilled that. Do you think he should have done better with that and pushed it out further? Because it wasn't a great shot, and he spilled it, and then And then obviously Trent followed through, and then obviously went over him.
I don't really remember it, to be honest. I don't remember the shot. I just didn't think it was a penalty at all. I don't think that's ever a penalty. Calvert-Lewin tripped over Trent. Like that's literally what happened. It's not a penalty. It can't be.
That's not a penalty, but I just mean like
No, I
think Alisson should have done a bit better. Like he should have been pushing that ball out because he pushed it straight into Calvert-Lewin. And I think he should have done a bit
How far away did he shoot though? I don't remember. Was it like point? Was it pretty close range?
Not really, because I think he was a bit wide because he was under pressure from Trent when he shot.
Yeah, I'd have to watch it back. I don't really recall.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he could have maybe done a little bit better, but other than that, I mean, it's tough to say. You know what I mean? Because he made the save, and I mean, he may have could have hit it out a little bit wider. I think when he's at his best, he does hit it out a little bit wider. But so yeah, he could have done a little bit better with it. But I'm not overall like really blaming him for that.
I gotta say though, Alisson has balls of steel. The fact that some of the plays that he made today with his feet, just and his recent history of giving the ball away in terrible situations, I would never do that. Every time I got the ball as a keeper, I would be thumping it long. But he like waits till Richarlison is breathing down his neck, and then he passes the ball right down the middle to Thiago. I'm like, what? These are balls of steel. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I think that's world class mentality that he knows that he's got confidence in his game. But I do feel like obviously Everton probably should have scored in the first half. Was it when Alisson made that save? Point blank save. That I think was it Coleman should have scored. It's a free header. Other side of the keep he scores. So was a good. So I think there were signs there in that first half that we were in trouble big time.
Yeah, I think Everton. We have this habit this season of creating a lot of like what I call like maybe like half chances where we're not really no really good opportunity comes out of it, but we get into like a dangerous position. Everton only had 2 or 3 clear-cut chances, but they were significantly more dangerous than anything that we produce, and it's really frustrating when you have the front three that we do, and yet we cannot create chances, and it just shocks me how. I never thought that we'd be able to maintain the level of consistency with how critical we were with finishing. But damn, I didn't think the drop off was going to be this much. I didn't think rock bottom for us would be this low with being able to not create chances. It's been really frustrating to watch.
Well, something that I've seen constantly with other top 6 teams is their midfield links up with one another and they're constantly moving. Like City does that so well. That's why they're so great. But even Chelsea does it. United does it with Bruno and Pogba. But we just don't do that. And it wasn't until Shaq got into the game that I think I saw the first 1-2 that I've seen in the past, 3 to 4 matches between Thiago and Shaq finally linking up. It's just there's no. If you just pressure the midfield a little bit, they're either going to go back or they're going to go wide. They're never going to take the risk and go up the middle or take the risk and try to beat a man one-on-one. It's just been pounded into their mind that they have to keep the ball and they can't give the ball away. That's just what it is. And it just comes down to risk taking. I keep saying it. It's just there's no risk in the midfield. And it's just a boring game and an easy game to defend.
I mean, yeah, kind of going off of that, like Brian Conley here, he had a question. What do you guys make of the substitution of Shaq on for Jones? And why is Jones, when he started, not really play 90 minutes?
I disagree with the sub. I think it should have been for Keita at that point, rather than if you're going to bring off someone. I think it should have been Keita coming on. Because I think we needed someone that was going to take a risk, that was going to run with the ball, that was going to try, progressive forward pass, but like trying to, put the ball get in the box. And I think that was the wrong substitution to bring on Shaq then. I don't think, apart from the passes to Salah, I don't think Shaq really did anything again. To be honest, that actually made me think he impacted the game. So I didn't understand why he was coming on. Now. Yeah, I didn't understand why he brought Shaq on. Jones, I don't know why Jones doesn't finish games. Maybe he's trying to limit his minutes because he's only 20, doesn't want to burn him out. But obviously in the last 2 games we brought Jones off, we haven't looked as great afterwards. But then again, I'm not obviously singling out Jones because I think I don't think anyone comes out this game with any credit in the bank. But I don't think Jones actually did anything in this game, so he wasn't influencing the game or impacting it. But I think any one of them could have come off. I don't think any of them. Like I think Thiago, Gini, and Jones were all poor. So I think any one of them could have come off.
Yeah, I thought Gini should have came off. I think that then you could have moved Thiago to the 6, and then you would have Keita and Jones pressing the Everton defense. That's a little more formidable than an aging Shaqiri who's pretty slow on the ball, and Gini Wijnaldum behind him who's also slow on the ball. It's just, I thought it was the wrong sub, and it was too late.
Yeah, and Chris Welch, massive overhaul needed this summer. Pat McConnell, the Yanks need to break the bank. I mean, we can say that, but again, I think we need to make top 4, and there's not going to be much revenue at all this year because of the lack of fans in the stands. So we know that the FSG is not going to take money out of their own pockets. It's only going to be money coming from within the club. So we're going to be relying ultimately on those fringe players like Grujic and Wilson and seeing what sort of sales that we can get for them. But again, because of COVID and clubs everywhere in the world are being impacted by this, I think a lot of changes and a lot of support is needed, but I don't think we're going to be able to go out and get that much because who's got the money to spend?
Yeah, I agree with that. Unless you win the Champions League, then I don't think we're going to be able to. If you don't get top 4, I think we're going to struggle. It's going to have to go back to our scouting, finding gems, like bargain gems, and bringing those in, because we're not going to be able to then go out and pay for a big player that wants to play Champions League to come to Liverpool, unless you offer them ridiculous wages, because any way you can get around it. Because obviously Chelsea bought when they were in the Champions League, but they paid ridiculous wages and they flashed the cash. But obviously, as you said, because of COVID, we're not going to be able to do that kind of thing. So, and we also have the renewals as well. We have to sort out this summer, and that's going to cost loads. So it's going to be a hard stretch to do major changes this summer.
Something that is interesting though is that Dortmund are 6th in the Bundesliga right now. I mean, I know that there's loads of games to play, but if they don't make the Champions League either, and we do make it, you have Haaland out there who probably doesn't want to go a season without playing Champions League football.
Yeah, but can you? I don't know. I'm just gonna say the top 4. Do I think it's not over? But I just think it's slim. But I don't think it's not over. It's not over, but it's slim. We have to see a huge uptake in form, quick, and hopefully that, and obviously rely on rivals to drop points, which is possible. But I think we just need to see a massive change in form, big time. And I would. If Jota's fit, I'm putting him straight back in the team and dropping Bobby. For me, that's straight up.
Yeah.
I think.
Sorry, let's look at the top 4 though, real quick. I mean, it's City, United, Leicester that make up the top 3, and then it's Chelsea, West Ham, Liverpool, Everton, Aston Villa. So I mean, out of those teams, other than United, City, I think every other team is going to be dropping points. I don't know if we can catch Leicester at this point given our current form, but I think that this 8-day break could be massive for us. I'm trying to be a little bit optimistic. If Jota does come back, I agree. He comes right back into the side. Mm-hmm. But I don't think top 4 is completely out of the picture yet. We just need to get it together.
No, teams are going to continue to drop points. The point is that we just need to find form at some point. It's pretty much since December, we have not put in. I don't think we've put in 3 straight performances of playing Liverpool football. It's been maybe 1 here, maybe 2 okay performances in a row, but we can't get any momentum. There really hasn't been one person that's just been like, okay, if no one else wants to do it, I'll fucking do it. I've been waiting for somebody to step up, and no one's done it. No one's done it on a consistent basis. And we always talked about this team being mentality monsters and stuff, but there is no mentality right now. I'm seeing a lot of doubting and a lot of heads down right now. And somebody, I don't know where it's going to come from. Hopefully it'll be a Jota or a Keita, someone like this who can just come in and give everybody a lift.
But why do you think we are lacking intensity? Like, why is it against Leipzig we can play with intensity, and then today there's no intensity whatsoever from the start? I don't get why there's a massive change between the Champions League, that performance, and the Premiership. Why is it we can't match that? Or even the Spurs game, we play with intensity and we win away to Spurs. We played intensity against West Ham, then after that's gone. Like, why do you feel that we can't match that same intensity again today, and it's a struggle?
I just feel like now it almost feels like we're expecting something bad to happen, and then when something bad happens, it's just like there's just like this negative aura, just like, okay, like more bad shit's gonna happen. Like, think about like the Leicester game. Like, all of a sudden, within 10 minutes, the game shifted completely and was over. Like today, they get an early goal right away that just completely changes the complexion of the entire game. So, like, when that stuff happens, and it's just been happening all year, and knowing that, like, we have not been creating the chances either, I think all that stuff's just adding up mentally, and it's been draining. It's been draining.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that there's always the amount of injuries that we've had, and our back four. I think there's always a seed of doubt throughout our team, and I think that goes all the way up to the coaching staff. I don't think that the coaching staff trusts certain players. They don't want to take certain risks, and that's really what it is. Maybe that it's comes down to pregame motivational things, pregame preparations. It's just it could be a lot of things. I don't know what it is, but we've seemed to be a team of two halves all season. And although today it was kind of a team of no halves, but yeah, I don't know, homie. It's a good question.
Are you guys concerned with Bobby though overall? Like, because like the Bobby that we remember of 2 years ago, who's linking up play, movement. I don't think he has that in his legs anymore. I think even if Van Dijk and Gomez and none have been fit, I don't think Bobby's got in his legs anymore to be that false nine position or play in that linking up play. Because I don't think he's got it in. Because even last season we saw there were quite a few games where Bobby, except for his little run over the World Club, there were big times last season, even when we had our best team out, where Bobby was struggling in the 9 position and wasn't influencing the game. So is his form a massive concern to think, well, should Bobby just be the 10 when Jota comes back, or just be like now the backup striker?
Well, I just think that right now there's no alternative to Bobby. We're not going to put in Origi to play 90 minutes in the biggest games that we have. We still need some chemistry within our front three. That being limited to what it is, but I think once Jota comes back, he gets slots right in there. And I've said it back when Jota was playing. I don't think that we're going to see many games where Bobby Firmino will play a full 90 minutes, or will be starting, 9 out of 10 games. I think it'll be more like he'll come on in the 60th, 70th minute, or I guess if it's Jurgen Klopp, he'll come on in the 80th or 85th minute, and maybe play 3 out of the 10. Start 3 out of the 10. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be seen as much time once Jota comes back.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think when Jota comes back, he's going to have to be a member of the front three, and I don't know, maybe then Klopp also could potentially change things to a 4-2-3-1 as well. I don't know. I mean, he's got something that has to change, but yeah, I think Jota's pace would be a welcomed addition to our front three right now, and hopefully add another element of danger, because we're just lacking something right now in that middle part of the park. So hopefully he can give it to us.
Well, we need something changed. That's 4 at the last 5 games lost in the Premiership. That's like relegation form. Relegation form.
Yeah, Pat McDonald keeps going off about FSG. I mean, Stevie and I are from Boston, and believe me, we have the same, the same issues with FSG not spending. Sometimes they don't spend for the Red Sox either.
They literally just sold their best player because they didn't want to spend money on him, and he's literally one of the best players in the league. So you have no idea. You have no idea what you're talking about. So good try though, Pat. Anyway. You guys have anything else left? I'm just kind of drained.
Nah, I've got nothing. I'm just gonna go eat.
Tough one today. 8 days off though. It's all right. We'll come back. They're gonna beat Sheffield. We're gonna rise the ranks. We're gonna get top 4. It's gonna be great.
Yesterday Andrew was the one, shooting me and Mahomey down off our high horses, and now he's here trying to boost us up. So we appreciate you, man. We appreciate that. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this episode. Everyone out there, go have a beer, go whatever you gotta do to relax. It's obviously a rough day for all of us Reds, but hey, tip the cap to Everton. They wanted it more. They got it more. They got it, and hey, they were due. They deserve one every 20 years. So it'll be another 20 years before they beat us again. So otherwise, we appreciate you guys in the chat. You guys were awesome as always. We'll be back. We have a couple specials coming this week for you, so keep an eye out on our YouTube channel. We'll let you know when all those are going to be going live. But otherwise, up the Reds, and we'll see you guys next time.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Hit that like and subscribe button, guys.